Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say.
Alright, boys and girls, this video is kind of a, well, I don't know. This is going to be kind of like an all-in-one video, I guess, in a lot of ways. And it has to do with the fact that I did make a video last week about this because I wanted to wait and see what happened this week, and now I've seen. Last week's Raw, of course, as most of you know, got a god-awful rating. And this week's Raw, of course, got a god-awful rating again. And while, you know, a lot of people could say, well, it's 2 weeks, it's not worth the panic mode yet, I think it, in a lot of regards, is, because I definitely think it's showing a trend. Because Raw, you know, has slowly started to decrease over the last couple of weeks, and the ratings anyways. Meanwhile, we have SmackDown and ECW, which for the most part have kept right about the same numbers they've always had. So you can't really blame that on the Benoit effect, so to speak. In my opinion, I think it's simply that the show, as most of us have known for a while, is complete and utter crap. As I said in one of my early videos, which unfortunately got deleted, I thought that a lot of people that came on here and said that the WWE sucked at the moment were actually talking more about Raw than they were the WWE as a whole, let alone the fact in another video I did on the WWE, I felt like, you know, the creative staff on Raw is such garbage, it's not even funny. And when you add in the fact that, yes, I'm going to bring this up again, that you have Triple H, who refuses to put guys over. And let me explain what I mean when I say put guys over. I don't mean just letting him beat you. That's not putting a guy over. I'm not saying a guy like Cena or Goldberg who were already over and then he let them beat him. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking a guy like Chris Jericho, or even better, like he did Orton, and put him over. Or a guy like he did Batista and put him over that is not his friend and buddy and not part of his little group. That's what needs to be done. Is he needs to start putting over guys. When he let Shelton Benjamin beat him 3 times, that was fine and great. The problem is there was no long-term feud. There needed to be a long-term feud so that Shelton Benjamin could have a better chance of getting over than what the chance he was given, which was basically, oh, he beat Triple H 3 times, isn't that great and wonderful, la 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 la. That's what happened. You know, there was no consequence, there was no feud afterwards, so it didn't mean anything, and in a lot of the fans' minds it was like, oh, well, they're just, you know, they let Shelton Benjamin beat him, but who really cares type of thing. Compare that to SmackDown, where The Undertaker continually, you look at every big name guy that has been made on SmackDown, they all have one thing in common. They have done a major feud, a major storyline with The Undertaker, and have always come out better popularity or drawability wise than they were when they went in. And that's what Triple H, because he can do it, we've seen him do it with other guys, needs to do with a lot of the younger talent on Raw. That's how he needs to be used now. And if he's not willing to be used in that way, then you know what? They need to do something else with him, because all he's going to do is hurt the program more. I'm sure when he comes in, I wouldn't be surprised if the ratings go up a little bit, because it'll be something fresh and new, because the show has gotten stale. John Cena, as I said on my first John Cena video, has gotten stale because the creative staff refuses to do anything with him. And the overall just attitude of the show just continually has gotten stale. I mean, they had to go and bring in the top guys from both SmackDown and ECW to liven up the show. They can't make their own stars. If they can't make their own stars on Raw and they're relying on SmackDown and ECW to do it, then that's not a good sign. That means the creative staff doesn't have a clue, and it doesn't, as most of us, I think, will agree. There's a huge problem there. And I know in my video, a lot of you stated that, you know, Vince McMahon should share a whole lot of the blame, and I agree. He does deserve the majority of the blame, because you're right, the buck stops with him. Here's the problem. Vince McMahon right now is the emperor with no clothes. Remember that story when we were little and we were told the emperor that ran around naked and he thought he had clothes on and he really didn't because he was being conned? That's what's going on in WWE with Stephanie and Triple H, because everyone's too scared to point out to Vince, you're doing the wrong thing. We need to be doing this instead. And if they're too scared to do that because they're scared they're going to wind up the same way that Paul Heyman and James E. Cornette did for doing the same thing, then there is a problem, and that needs to be fixed. You know, the fact that you have a guy as talented as Paul Heyman sitting at home getting a check because you're too scared he's going to go to TNA and turn that show around should right there tell you that you're making a huge mistake. If you know the guy's talented enough to turn around your competition show, even if it's maybe just that much of a competition to you, that show, and put it back to where it was in 2005, then by all means, there was a problem. You look what Dusty Rhodes did with a bad situation with ECW. He didn't necessarily turn it around. He didn't necessarily make it into a huge success, but he was able to get it back to where Paul had it without question. You look at Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes lost his #1 writer to ECW and still's been able to keep the ship going along. He continually has talent taken from him, and he's still able to just go along and do his thing. Now the thing with Edge now is you're probably going to completely crap that out, and I don't even want to. I don't even want to think what they're going to do. I don't even want to get to that part of it. I don't even want to get to what they're going to do on SmackDown because that's going to be horribly crap. But that's a problem, and that's my biggest problem with WWE is that there just are not enough guys that are in the mid-card level that have been given the chance to show that, hey, when a guy gets hurt, we can come up and we can fill those places until either make a name for ourselves or fill that place until one of the guys that are injured are coming back. So we have all of that going on, and you know what? Stephanie McMahon and her little gaggle of monkeys, her little Hollywood writer monkeys who don't have a clue about this business, there needs to be something done about them because they're the problem. It's undoubtedly they're a bunch of hacks that couldn't make it in Hollywood, and because they're not even guys that just can't find jobs in Hollywood. They're hacks. They can't find jobs in Hollywood. There are quality writers. I know for a fact there are quality writers in Hollywood that can't get a job. Now they probably would refuse to do work for the WWE, but you can't tell me you can't find a guy who just needs a job bad enough that he wouldn't go work for the WWE and be a writer for them. That at least would get the point of, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to go to a guy that actually understands the business, similar to James E. Cornette, instead of feuding with him, telling him he knows nothing about what we're trying to do, and getting him kicked out of the company, which is what happened. Okay, so there definitely needs to be a change. There definitely needs to be a change of direction for Raw, particularly. Again, the fact that over the years, Triple H has not made... I mean, how many guys has he made? How many guys? Unlike The Undertaker on SmackDown, how many guys has he made? He made a whole bunch of guys. And it's retarded. The fact that they can't get it through their head that if you want freaking Lashley to be over, because you completely failed with the guy because you didn't do what everybody on the internet basically said the exact same thing. Give the guy a mouthpiece and he'll be able to get over the exact same way that Lesnar got over. We all make the similarities to him and Lesnar anyways. Just go ahead and give him a mouthpiece. You got plenty of mouthpieces, either in OVW or in the WWE currently, that could walk out there and help get the guy over because he's not good on the mic. Okay? He's charismatic. You can tell that with his facial expressions, the way he looks at a crowd, the fact that he can get a crowd to kind of react to him without talking. He can do that. There's no problem. He's adequate enough, and we can debate on how good he is in the ring, but I think most people would say he's decent in the ring. Okay? And he does have charisma, and people do like seeing him. It's just they don't want to hear him on the mic. So give the guy a freaking mouthpiece already. I don't understand how hard this is. I don't understand how hard it is to see that, Jeff Hardy is over, so give the guy a freaking push. I don't understand how hard that is. Now we come to Orton, which I've continually said, I don't think Orton should get a push. I think he should get punished. But if the ratings continually slide, then yeah, they got to give Orton a push and see if that will do anything, because that's going to hurt morale far worse than him getting a push is going to hurt morale. So, it boggles my mind how, as a lot of people have said, this is booking a wrestling program is not freaking brain surgery. It's not hard. It really isn't. It's not hard to sit there and go, this guy's over, this guy's not. We all, I think, understand that. It's not complicated. There's complicated parts of it. The hard part is keeping it fresh. But they can't even do that. They can't even forget about keeping it fresh, because they can't do that. They can't do the other thing either. They can't understand how to book just a basic entertaining wrestling show. They can't do it without trying to add gimmicks and everything else to it. Again, for the first time in a long time, I do think it's panic time for the WWE, and I think they need to start realizing that the industry's changed, like it did in '96, and that they're going to have to look at it and ask themselves, hey, what can we do to give the fans what they want to get? Because we're definitely not doing that now. And how you start that is you got to totally change up the creative staff on Raw. I'm running out of time, so